Next, my reflections on our national security strategy. Every country has to work out its priorities and its national security strategy. And we have had our national security strategy formulated in 2004. I think by and large it has worked well, and I would not make major changes. I've not thought it necessary to make major changes to it. The national security strategy essentially has several pillars. One is, of course, to prevention and protection. Right? That's one pillar. Second is to have a robust response system if there were to be an incident. Third is to emphasize the social and community resilience aspect. These three aspects are very important. Part of the strategy also has been to harden ourselves as a target, making Singapore a hardened target and not a soft target. So, whether it's critical infrastructure, port, airport, Jurong Island, various key places which could be targets, harden it as much as you can. Now, we have done as much as we can, but obviously it's not an easy matter, it's not straightforward, because hardening means trade-offs, and there are costs. I don't mean necessarily financial costs. There's costs involved in making judgments. How much you want to harden, how many restrictions and layers of ring fencing you want to do will affect people's accessibility, ease of travel, ease of movement of goods and services. So we are an open society, a lot of visitors, manufacturing and services hub. Things must move from one place to the other fast. So we have to make careful judgments on a practical and pragmatic basis. So I'll make that other point. Then part of the strategy, of course, is also having training and exercises. All of you are familiar with North Star exercises. So you can have very good plans, but you have to test the plans. Not always can we exercise in the scale of North Star, but many agencies are involved in what I call tabletop exercises. The other reflection which I would want to share with you is that my strong belief that this is an ongoing, ceaseless, and never-ending exercise. Now, why do I say that? Because on three aspects, matters are constantly changing, evolving, and morphing from one to the other. So, targets. Let's take targets. So, the terrorist groups and individuals keep changing the targets from spectacular to different type of targets, to even lone wolf targets. Right? So we have 9/11. From 9/11, all the governments geared up the airport security. Then they moved to trains, MRT systems. Then they moved to hotels and soft targets, places frequented by tourists. So where will the next target be? So this is one of the dilemmas for security agencies. The second aspect which constantly changes is the methodology and modus operandi. I've given you a list. You can select some of them if the list is too long. You see how clever outfits we are dealing with, right? From planes to suicide bombers to suicide vests to belts to shoes, even underwear. There was even a bizarre case of somebody having a device inside his body, and so on and so forth. The list is there. The third aspect which we have to deal with, which keeps changing, is the nature of the organization. Who are we dealing with? It's not just organizations like AQ, Al-Qaeda, and JI. Right? We have various splinter groups. And as you know, we have also self-radicalized individuals. So, what this means is that security agencies, including security agencies in Singapore, have to be really on top of the situation and expect the unexpected, so to speak. So, every few years, we find that terrorists exploit some new vulnerability. What will it be next time? So that is the challenge for many countries. What does it mean for Singapore? You've seen that my view is that we just have to be very vigilant. We continue to be an iconic target. Why is that? We are a major business, financial center. We're an open society, free movement of travel. There are many Western multinational banks and business enterprises here. We are seen to be cooperative with and supportive of the United States, especially advocating the engagement in this region. And so we are a target. And we have to recognize that and proceed on that basis. And there have been efforts. Most recently, the Indonesians, as you know, arrested some people, and then they found the map which indicated that they were contemplating the Orchard Road MRT station. The point I want to stress is the threat environment really has not changed. And I think it will be very foolish to think that the terrorist threat has diminished or vanished. The extremist groups are still active in the region. And as I mentioned just now, the fact that there are many organizations, many splinter groups, individuals self-radicalized, there's always a possibility of them teaming up to mount an attack on Singapore. So it's extremely important, a point I want to stress, that we have to be vigilant. And of course, as a recent episodes in Europe showed, sometimes the terrorists actually do not have to carry out a single attack to mount fear and panic. The reports that there was going to be terrorist attacks in Europe, as you know, caused widespread fear and alarm and cancellation of flights, and tourism dropped and so on. So we have to be vigilant about that.